Everybody is talking about the recent deal made by the UAE with the United States, but very few people are talking about the involvement of Saudi Arabia and what this deal, this $600 billion deal, means for the petrodollar and Bitcoin. Now, let's dive into how the potential of Saudi Arabia looking to get out of utilizing the petrodollar and potentially utilizing Bitcoin as we are going forward here. Because we've got Donald Trump even saying, hey, they're asking for $600 billion, but potentially they'll round up. Don't listen to me. Let's listen to what Donnie T had to say about this deal himself.
That Saudi Arabia will be investing at least $600 billion in America, but I'll be asking the Crown Prince, who's a fantastic guy, to round it out to around $1 trillion. I think they'll do that because we've been very good to them. That Saudi Arabia.
That is probably one of the more electric things you'll hear a president say. Oh, well, we're going to round it up from 600 billion to $1 trillion because he's a really great guy here. But what I think people are ignoring are the facts surrounding this $600 billion package, right? So we went over yesterday just what the UAE is investing, the $1.4 trillion that Trump bought in right away, right? He brought that in yesterday. But Saudi bringing in the $600 billion package includes investment, procurement, and how the Saudis are very forward thinking when it comes to the energy markets. Now, they've been dabbling in what has been looking like the cryptocurrency market for quite a while. But I think the interesting aspect is where Trump has been targeting all of these investments. We see UAE, 1.4 trillion. The second biggest is Saudi Arabia at 600 billion. Then we've got others like Hyundai for car making, Apple here, Nvidia for chips, and other things along those lines. But a very tech-focused area, tech and energy, right? And that makes a lot of sense. But one thing that people are ignoring is that Saudi Arabia is the fastest growing crypto economy globally, and that they are looking to continue that growth. They're looking into stable coins. They're looking into things like Bitcoin. And in fact, Trump and his team has been actively looking into Bitcoin and everything else, right? We just had the blockchain summit there in DC where people like the likes of Cynthia Lummis were speaking and Michael Saylor. But I think it's beside the point here that Saudi regulators are making moves cautiously usher into crypto, the kingdom, but it's not where it's at the Saudi Arabia Central Bank. They're looking at potential other things outside of that. But the interesting aspect is we could be looking at how to manage the sovereign wealth fund as well, right? So all of these things are connected. Saudi Arabia being one of the largest, if not the largest, oil and gas producers in the world, an extremely energy dense country that is looking to continue that energy. And what revolves around energy? Bitcoin, money, right? So these things go hand in hand. And we're also seeing Saudi Arabia have a $620 billion sovereign wealth fund that has backed crypto-friendly venture capitalists throughout this entire time. And this has been going on for years, right? Look at the date of this article, April 4th, 2023. So they've been on top of their Bitcoin holdings for quite some time. And if you look at the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, they are also one of the biggest in the world. And so, as Trump said, they are looking to continue that partnership, and they're going to continue to look at why, Abu Dhabi and some of Saudi Arabia, they could potentially overtake that and continue that rise up, because the money in this region is absolutely huge, right? I mean, we've got the ads all over the place, but Abu Dhabi, who has received in UAE, who has potentially now overtaken Saudi Arabia, as the world's top wealth fund spender, they're deploying massive amounts of capital in 2024, and they continue to utilize these investments to get involved in these different markets. Now, it's interesting because what the Saudi Arabia country is doing is they've been potentially mining Bitcoin in the background. They've been potentially doing a lot of different things, but investing in the United States is unique, right? Why are you investing in the United States? The United States has been very crypto focused, very moving forward in that aspect of things, right? They've been very much so continuing to push these things forward, push tech advancements, continue on throughout that, right? So if you're looking at Saudi Arabia and you're looking at the continued growth of the sovereign wealth fund, I think it is unique in an aspect where we're going to see more and more of these sovereign wealth funds to continue to grow. And we're going to get the world's largest sovereign wealth funds here up in a second so you guys can see where this visual capitalist, one of the best, I think, in the business here, how they have these global funds, some of the biggest, right? So we've got Saudi Arabia and UAE as two of the top sovereign wealth funds in the world, right? The United States is now pledging to build a new sovereign wealth fund, but they're building it from scratch. So how are they going to do this? Well, they're going to invest heavy in tech and energy, right? We've already had Trump come out and create his, recent, ETFs that Trump has created. And then we're going to continue to see more and more of these countries start to come online, right? We're going to see more of this, Bitcoin continue to rip and roar. We're going to see Bitcoin be integrated into a lot of these different things, right? And I think another unique aspect is where we're seeing the M2 money supply continue to rise, right? So this is a great visual inflation so you guys can hear. But this visual here just shows how Bitcoin is surging as trueflation ends up keep continuing to grow. We're going to see the M2 money supply continue to skyrocket because global liquidity is on the rise. So as global liquidity continues to rise, and as Saudi Arabia and all these other countries continue to invest in the United States, Bitcoin is going to prosper from all of this. The Midwest Picker is saying he's ready for 200K. That's going to come sometime this year, if you ask me, folks, because I truly believe that as we continue to see this growth here, as we continue to see growth in all aspects, as we continue to see growth in the United States and receiving these $1 billion worth of packages, we're going to start to see these things start to pan out and all move towards Bitcoin. We're going to see these investments really start to move towards that because we have Donald Trump, who's one of the most crypto-friendly presidents of all time and one of the more Bitcoin-focused presidents we've ever had, who really wants to encourage this innovation and continue to see it grow. We've also seen the ETFs rise rapidly. We've seen a lot of different aspects rise completely. We've seen all of this, these, $1 trillion being added to their global funds here and BlackRock, right? So if you look at the connections, you look at the writing on the wall here, we're going to continue to see more and more allocations of Bitcoin in these major funds. And I think that Saudi allocating a bunch of money, $600 billion, potentially rounding up to $1 trillion, as Donnie T was asking. I think the connection there, you're going to start to see more of those, a lot more dots being connected. Midwest Picker saying, hey, he's ready for 200K. I think that that's going to like I said, happen soon because of what we're seeing. We're seeing this global liquidity, the M2 supply, start to increase. And when that increases, we start to see Bitcoin's price increase as well. I mean, look at these, arrows here, right? We're just drawing a bunch of arrows on a chart, making sure it works, right? I kid. But I think the true power of Bitcoin is being able to hold it yourself. So you can go to bitcoin.com or bitcoinwell.com/green candle, enter in to this very website, go here, enter in your email in this box, and they will help you buy and send it direct to self-custody. Very few others, in fact, no other exchange in the United States will allow you to do that. So you could do that directly with the Bitcoin Well. And in fact, they give you guys wishing well tokens where you have the potential to win 1 million sats while you're doing this. While you're buying Bitcoin, you have the potential to win more sats. It's absolutely psycho. These guys are crazy. Why are they doing that? Right? But I think it's par for the course. It's great. You can see this continue to grow, right? So I think you guys should really check out a Bitcoin Well. You guys are going to see your Bitcoin continue to rise in price. We've been floating around that 87 to 88K region. So not quite the 200K that Midwest Picker is calling out for, but I think it's just a matter of time. We see gold start to increase. And once gold really starts to increase, gold usually front runs Bitcoin. So look, it's not financial advice, folks, right? But I think that over time, we start to see this number really start to go up and ramp up. I think it's going to be, something that we're going to start to see. There's too many people buying Bitcoin. There's too much bullish news. There's too much investment coming into the United States for this not to be pushed towards Bitcoin. So I think that this is going to keep ripping and roaring. And I think that over time, we're going to start to see more and more of these people taking profit. LTHers, profit takers are going to run out eventually, right? I agree. They're going long-term profit holders. They're going to continue to hodl on. I mean, I think it's interesting that we're seeing them start to sell off here a little bit in the short term. In fact, I did see a little chart here earlier today about the potential of some long-term holders selling off. So let me see if I can find that here. But what we did see as other things, right? We saw a bunch of shorts hit this GME short here. So another short squeeze that we got from GME as we continue to see that rip and roar on. But let's see where we can see this other potential. Oh, here we go. Short-term holders have increased their Bitcoin holdings by 200,000 Bitcoin to 5.75 mil since January, remaining below previous cycle peaks. So these short-term holders are still not buying Bitcoin quite as much as they have in other cycles. So despite the long-term holders, the long-term hodlers that all of you know and love, that many of you are, these short-term guys keep coming in and out, in and out, in and out. And this is what we expect when we get a lot of these different, investment players coming in, these big money managers coming in. We expect the volatility. We expect people to be coming in and out, in and out, in and out. Right? And that's exactly what we're getting here. This is what this chart shows. And so, McLovin, I love you, man, saying hit the like button to help spread the signal of Bitcoin. Please do. Smash the like button. Tell a friend to join the Green Candles movement because we're breaking in 200K Bitcoin are currently held at unrealized loss, right? So these guys are short-term hodlers coming in to Bitcoin right now. But we all know and love, and we all see the writing on the wall. Everybody has been allegedly running from Bitcoin and the Bitcoin investment because they've been seeing all these giant tariffs, and they've been worried about the tariffs of the overall market. But what we're seeing, UAE and Saudi Arabia bringing in more and more capital to the US, that's a lot of money, folks. That's a lot of Skrilla Manila, a lot of people bringing in money and capital going forward. And all of these guys are very much into Bitcoin, right? Saudi Arabia, their $620 billion wealth fund has backed crypto-friendly venture capitalists. That's not Green Candle just spouting off this. This is an actual headline, folks. So I think that we're going to continue to see more and more of these guys come in. And when you see things like this, right, these GameStop stuff, once they announce its Bitcoin strategy, you see these shorts come in like crazy. It all just shows how much attention is around every move that is made surrounding Bitcoin. So a lot more attention and a lot more eyeballs are continuing to come to Bitcoin. And because of that, we're going to see a lot more people start to come on to the Bitcoin standard. Now, I'm going to keep this one a little short and sweet. Smoke the like Cheech and Chong, as my man All Nighter Hider always says. And McLovin is saying, help spread the word of Bitcoin. Hit the subscribe button. And also, check out some of my latest podcasts that I've got going on here. I've got a great podcast with NVK, creator of the Cold Card. And then my Jeff Booth podcast has passed 90K views. Would love for you guys to tune in and watch that. Help that get to 100K views. So go and smoke that like button here and smoke it at this podcast, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.